I think we're good. I did hit go
Okay,
live,
sorry,
did I
hold on.
not?
Yeah. Sorry, sorry, I randomly got a text from my ex-wife about my kids just right then. So I was trying to peruse that
Okay.
real quick. But anyway, we're good to go.
Okay. Let's see. I hit go live. Does it require a confirm go live on your end?
Yeah, I'm
Okay, what's going on? I hit
you're
go
good.
live.
There we are.
Are we? Oh, we are live. Fuck's sake.
Yeah, we are. For 38 seconds we've been going.
There you go. Oh my god. All right. It this for a little bit.
Like it's been a minute.
Yeah. Anything involving having to coordinate anything, and I'm gonna fuck it up. I'll find a way. Uh, hey, Mello, how's it going, buddy? There we go. And Monty's here as well. Good shit. All right, how you been, man?
Good. I'm trying to see. I feel like I should be able to see messages from people chatting on my end, but I sure can't.
Oh, okay. Fuck.
Not that
Oh,
that's
well, I can't.
anything.
Oh, a little bit.
Huh.
Uh,
That's weird.
I always, I always load it up on the on my laptop too, but I understand if that's a little bit much for some people.
Yeah.
It's a little bit too much to keep track of, but that's how I. That's the only way I can
Oh, I could do
do
that. Let
this.
me. Yeah. I usually should be able to see the chat in on the phone as we're doing it here, but it does not showing me anything. But I bet if I pull it up on my other device here,
There you
I
go.
could see. Let me use my big old brain.
And we got Mauricio too. How's it going, man?
Mauricio. There we go. Oh yeah, yeah. See, I can see it on this one. This is a
All right.
just a separate phone, but all right. Well, that's something.
Whatever works.
Right? Exactly. Anyway, sorry. Now I'm getting all okay. Anyway, yes, I'm here. I'm here. I'm good. I'm ready to go.
Good shit.
Good Lord.
Let's make that a little bit shorter. There we go. Your stream right when you were talking about how you were done with Star Wars.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Just it's they've just burned it out of me. I can't care even if it's something that's good. Like people are like, "Hey, go watch Andor. It's awesome." I'm like, "I bet it is." I don't care.
I did enjoy Andor quite a bit. That's the only bit of Star Wars I've liked.
Yeah.
I think in about 30 years.
Right.
See, that's the thing. People like to say that Disney killed Star Wars. In my opinion, George Lucas killed Star Wars long before that.
I've heard people refer to the original trilogy as the accidental masterpiece.
Yep. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the first one definitely I think is an accidental masterpiece because that was largely saved in editing, from what I understand.
Right. Right.
George Lucas just shot way too much stuff, and a lot of it was boring. It was
And
actually
then
his
it's like,
wife who was the editor who kind of made a real movie out of it.
right. You pick through the material and try and filter it and make something good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she accidentally made one of the best, like most beloved movies of all time.
Yep. Absolutely.
The second one, I don't think there's anything accidental about that, like Empire. But then
Yeah.
again, how much did George have to do with that? You know, he didn't
Yeah.
direct it. He didn't write it. You know.
I'm sure. I mean, yeah, somebody else wrote it, but he had like, okay, this is the world, and these are the events I want to have happen. But now structure it into a thing, and blah 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 blah. But
Sure.
I don't care how it come about. Like it come from him originally, as far as the nugget of the idea, and that's fine. And You know, I'll love those original movies forever.
Yeah, no, George Lucas created Star Wars the way Rob Liefeld created Deadpool. You know,
It's true. He created the nugget, and then others kind of built it into the thing we all know today.
yep. And hey, the most important thing is who got paid at the end of it.
George Lucas. He what is he? He's been like a multi millionaire forever. I'm like, oh
Well, I mean, I think he got like 4 billion or something for the franchise getting bought off him by Disney.
yeah, yeah. I'm sure that's obviously like a bunch of like stock and stuff like that. Obviously, it's not like 4 billion in cash, but still, that's not the
But yeah,
point. What would that be
in
like
terms
to
of
have?
like, it's do what you want for the rest of your life.
Literally, yeah,
I don't think he's done movies since then, so it's like, okay, well, we know that he's kind of done with that part of things, I guess.
yeah.
I suppose he's had his hand in the Indiana Jones stuff, but
Yeah, which that's been just a mess.
yeah,
I think that's
no, but
I love that story that he tells how back when he was making the first Star Wars, no one like the studios didn't think it was going to be successful, so he talked him into retaining the rights to all merchandising.
uh-huh,
It's like
made him a
they're like
fucking
that's going to
empire.
be yeah, that's not going to be any big deal, and then suddenly the studio's
No,
like we lost so much money.
nobody's gonna who nobody makes money off of toy rights. You know?
Yeah, that's he can have it. He's stupid. I'm like, oh,
Uh-huh.
smartest thing he ever did.
Yep. Absolutely. No, I haven't really enjoyed a new Star Wars thing that much since Jedi. Like
Yeah.
even back when they were doing the special editions, you know, they're not as good as the originals.
I feel like with the special editions, I agree with you, but there were some things they did I would agree with. Like they tighten up, like there's some places where like the visual effects you could actually see through certain things. So they like tightened that up, you know, enhancing the sound and stuff like that. I'm kind of okay with that, but like I'll watch
Yeah, but
that
if it was
special.
just well,
Yeah,
that's like THX remastering type shit, right? Because they did do that just before they dropped the special editions too.
yeah.
I
But then
remember
there's that
having some of those remastered ones.
the special edition of the first one when like Obi-Wan and Luke are rolling into Mos Eisley, and then
Uh-huh.
there's like just giant lizard monsters just walking in front of the camera, just blocking the image.
Uh-huh.
Like it's I'm like, get this stupid lizard out of the way. I want to watch the movie. It's like no one had it's like he was so fascinated by what he could do, he didn't stop to
Yeah.
think if he should do.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, and he just made a worse product, and that stuff is just the worst. And then that what was it in Jedi, the singer bit in
The senior
Jabba's
bit?
palace
Which bit?
in Return
The
of the
singer.
Jedi. Yeah, in Jabba's
The
palace when they
dancing cockroach
replaced
thing, yeah.
that. There's that whole musical number. It's just the worst. That original dancing creature thing was like. It was weird and creepy, and it fit perfectly. And then they turned it into that
Yeah,
whatever
no,
that nonsense was.
George Lucas really wanted a dance number, and that was what was going to make that scene.
Yeah. He's like, this is what I've always wanted. They always needed a big dance scene and a bunch of, musical numbers and a screaming
Yeah,
little rat creature. I'm like, no, George, stop. It was already perfect. Why can't you just leave it alone, my dude?
I think because the original versions, if they're ever reproduced, his wife gets royalties on, or his ex-wife rather.
Oh. Did you? Speaking of that, I saw that at some recent comic convention, Disney announced that they're going to re-release the original versions of Star Wars in the theaters on its anniversary, like the theatrical cut.
Okay.
I'm
I
like,
haven't seen anything
go
about
to
that,
the
but
theater. I might go to the theater and watch that.
I mean, to see actual original Star Wars, yeah, okay. That might get me out. Yeah, for sure. I
Yeah,
might wait till Empire, but
yeah. I hope they do all of them, but because I've never seen the original uncut. I've seen the special editions in the theaters, but
yeah,
not
I
the
saw the first
original.
one in the theater. It was not, yeah, it was not enough what I should have been getting excited about.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was neat because yeah, you were talking about they would never release those, but they finally. I think they were probably like, everything we do with Star Wars sucks these days. What do we do? Release the original as it was. That's something that get people actually legitimately interested, and they're right.
Yeah, well,
Yes, it will.
I'm curious if like George Lucas put any kind of clause in the sale contract stating that no original version of the movies can be produced. Because he could have
Yeah.
theoretically, if he really wanted to block his ex from getting royalties.
Right. That seems kind of like, dude, you got enough money. Let the rage go. If she gets some cash, so what? You're making the fans happy. Is that so bad?
Well, how much of that is like Liefeld syndrome, where he doesn't want to share credit?
That's a good
You know,
point. That's a very fair point.
because like if she's getting royalties, eventually there's going to be coming out why, which is that she kind of saved the movie and turned it into something everybody wants to see again and again, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm that's a speculation, but it's possible.
Yeah, for sure. Liefeld would draw a Batman cover for $1 million. I'm sure you saw that whole clip,
I
right?
I did indeed. That was fun.
He he really lost his shit for no reason in that one.
Yeah, no, it just seemed to be like he was doing a whatnot stream for anybody who doesn't know. And hey, everybody who's showing up. It's good to see a bunch of people here. That's good shit. Um, Anybody who doesn't know, he was doing a whatnot stream, and somebody asked him if he would draw an absolute Batman cover or something, and
Yeah.
he kind of lost his shit. It sounded like they just really wanted to see, like they're Liefeld fans. They want to see Liefeld draw stuff,
Yeah.
and it's like
Yeah, this guy just wanted to
absolute
see him
Batman
do
is
it.
cool and popular. I want to see Liefeld's take on it. And
And
yeah, no, he kind of lost his shit and was just like, I would do it for $1 million and that's it. Like, what's the point of doing an absolute Batman cover? What do I get out of that? An 8.5 hour line? Oh, I already got that.
yeah, he makes his own big lines at his conventions. He's already got it. And that's all
That's
fine. It's like, you don't, you're like, you know what? I don't need to fart around with Batman because I'm currently having a lot of success with my own stuff. And that's all I'd rather do. That's all you got to say. It's like I'm rocking my own stuff and I'm happy to be doing that. Okay, cool. But then the guy's like, I just love your work, dude. I'd love to see it. And it was the dude that made
yeah.
Liefeld snap.
I'm not your dude, man. I'm Rob
Yeah,
Liefeld.
yeah. I'm not your buddy at the bar. Yeah, and he's like, oh, you got to go, and blocked.
Yep.
Like, did that just happen? It's like,
It doesn't take much. All you got to
no.
do is make it so his day isn't super special, and then you're out of there.
Yep, you're out of here. You're done. Oh, that guy.
He's a never ending source of entertainment. Even if he can't write or draw.
Yeah, yeah. That's the thing. He's constantly giving some people stuff to talk about.
There you go. I don't know if you saw the thing where he was. This is something I've been kind of focusing on the last like week. I guess Louise Simonson came out and said something about the
Yeah.
success of New Mutants. You post was I ever saw that.
I'm pretty sure it seemed to indicate that um questioning the origins of cable, which maybe it's not all purely Liefeld, and that, of course, sent him into an absolute spin.
Yeah.
And so now there's debate on whether, because there's somebody saying that Jim Lee and Wills Protasio threw out the idea that baby Nathan would be Cable in the future, and so therefore maybe Jim Lee's got a hand in creating Cable and something to that effect. It's just all so silly.
All right. I don't think Jim Lee gives a shit. I don't think Wills gives a
I
shit about anything.
don't think he gives not a shit at all, right? He's like,
He's sitting.
what? He's like, please
Wills is
don't
like
invoke
sitting
my name in
somewhere in
this.
his Hawaiian shirt, being like, "Did somebody say something?" You know?
Yeah, yeah. He's like, I'm plenty fine, my dudes. Please don't
Yeah.
invoke my name in this.
But yeah, I wish I could remember what the Liefeld post on that was, but basically, he's claiming credit for reviving New Mutants and everything. How it was a sinking ship, and he turned it from like a bottom feeder into a top 10 book, whatever. And I decided to check up on that. And like I can't know for sure because I wasn't there, and he does have firsthand information. But at the same time, I think we all know Liefeld likes to exaggerate from time to time if it'll make him look good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at least on Comic-Con, which again I don't know, I can't ever 100% speak to how real those numbers are, but from my understanding, they're taken directly from the old Diamond numbers, Diamond distribution. And according to those numbers, New Mutants was a top 20 book when Liefeld came on.
Right.
Like top 20, not at Marvel, in comics. You know, it
It's
wasn't
not
one of the top
exactly
dogs or
failing,
anything.
is it?
Not really, like it definitely had an audience. It wasn't quite top tier, but it was like top of the middle of the pack guys,
Sure.
you know. So like, and that was at like issue 84 was the last one I was able to find. So like, I don't know. I kind of wanted to respond to Rob, but I just know all he'd do is block me and then not refer to it. Or say, you weren't there, you don't know. And it's like, well, that's fair, I don't. But
Right.
there are numbers. What with these numbers?
Yeah. That guy.
Yeah. I've never seen somebody work so hard to try and justify their place in an industry, I think.
Sure. Yeah. Totally right.
It's crazy. Like it does seem like getting into comics for him was never about becoming. Um, I don't know, like never about creating comics. Really, to me, so much as being one of the biggest creators of all time. You know, like that seems to have been his goal to me, was that he wanted to have a name that rivaled something like George Perez or something.
Yeah. I've always kind of felt like because he's so controversial and so many people give him shit about so many things,
Yeah.
and he feels like he should be revered like Jack Kirby or something like that, and he's not. And so he's bitter as hell. That's kind of what I kind of get out of it.
Yeah, no, there was
He's like,
definitely a while there where it seemed like he thought he was the new Kirby.
yeah.
Yeah.
And people are just like, you're not, and it's not that awesome.
No,
He's like, yeah, but look what I've done. I'm like, and yes, you can't deny what he's done and his success and his influence. Sure, his place is cemented, but
I don't know if it's that an enviable position, really, apart from the money he made, but
it's memorable.
sure.
People will remember him for sure.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Sheldon says, you're a powerful man, Mitch. Rob would block you, then unblock you.
On the down low, you know. Like, don't tell anybody I did this.
God, speaking of getting blocked, I had some guy hit me up like 2 or 3 days ago, sent me a friend request on Instagram, and I got a notification that he wants to send me a message. I'm like, all right, this happens periodically, no problem. And I go and look at the guy's page first. He's some kind of like 3D modeler.
Okay.
I'm like, all right, that's cool, sure,
I've
whatever.
had a couple of those guys message me before. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he hits me up and he's like, hey, my name's so and so. I don't even remember what it was. And I do 3D modeling. God, I'm trying to remember exactly how he worded it. It's important that I get the wording right. Let me glance here real quick.
You bet. See you, Monty. Monty's taking off.
Oh, Monty.
Monty doesn't
Um,
usually stay too late for these.
oh yeah, okay.
The
Um,
Sunday ones he'll stick around for a while, but the late night ones, he's like, okay, I gotta sleep. He's an old man, you know.
oh, I can't see the messages anymore because the guy blocked me. But he's like, I'm a 3D modeler, and would you be interested in my work? I can show you my work. Is that anything you'd be interested in? And I gave a very cordial, like honest response. I said, no thanks. I wouldn't have any use for something like that. I appreciate the offer.
Mm,
Because it sounded like he was wanting, like, hey, do you want a 3D model made of anything? And I'm like,
yeah,
no, why would I?
yeah,
I draw on paper with pencil and ink. I don't, what am I going to do? And so instantly the guy blocked me hardcore, like blocked, just gone. Like, not
okay.
just like, okay, thanks, just blocked me so I couldn't see him or talk to him anymore. I'm like, what the heck was that? Seems like a really like petty response to.
Kinda.
I'm like, I didn't like be like, F you, dude. You got nothing. I don't want. I was just like, no, thanks. I appreciate it. But, you know, thanks, but
Yeah.
no thanks.
Usually I like my go-to is to be like, yeah, I don't have the money for that shit, man.
I mean,
Because
yeah,
that's all they're looking for.
yeah. And that
And
is the other component. Yeah. And I
yeah,
would tell that to somebody if I had to, but I'm like, I don't know what I would want to use a 3D. What would I do with a 3D model? You
yeah.
know, anyway, his feelings were hurt and he took off and was pissed. I'm like, oh, well, all right. Well, looks like I made the right decision.
Yeah. You know, hey, it probably would have presented problems later on anyway, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one just surprised the hell out of me. I'm like, going, damn, man, I didn't even say anything rude. I was just like, no thanks. Thanks, no thanks. It's like, you jerk. Oh, okay.
It was fun. I actually got an invite to be on a podcast of some kind, like you know, like little podcast run by two guys, where they talk about the collector side of comics, like well, just collecting in general. And you know, hey, do you think you want to be on? We could talk about the collector side of comics and stuff. And I took a look at their thing, and they're just like hardcore into any kind of collecting. And I messaged him back, and I'm like, honestly, I don't know that I'd be the best guy for your show, just because I don't have any interest in collecting, really. For one thing, and for another thing, I think the collector mentality kind of killed the comic industry. Um, so if you want,
Exactly.
we can talk about that. But I get the feeling that's not really what you're after. So maybe I'm not a fit on this one.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if you see the same thing I do, because I've heard a lot of talk about a resurgence in comic sales and for in American comic books specifically, like things have been
I feel
going a
like we
little
hear
bit.
that every year or two, you know?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I heard this from a gal who runs a comic shop specifically. She's like, things have
Okay.
turned up. Like, she's like, things are just selling. She's like, this is great. You know, things have been going great. And then, of course, I hear that combined with, like you're saying, we hear it, people talking about it all the time. But it
Yeah.
just sure seems like there's a big focus on like variant covers and collecting them all. It just feels like the
Yeah.
same old stuff we've heard before. Like, are any of you
It's
collecting it because you
yeah.
like it?
It's the new version. Yeah. It's like that's the only thing that can really drive success in comics is treating it like it's an artifact and not entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's same with like the slapping culture for me, where like,
Right.
you know, so often I like if I want to get something that's been released in the last few years, a lot of the time it's impossible if it's anything of any kind of note because all like it feels like all of the copies have been snapped up and slabbed. And you know,
Right.
you can get a 9.6 copy for $110. It's like, why would I want to do that? I just want to talk about a fucking book.
Right. I just want to show the comic. I want to talk about the art and the creativity
Yeah.
and share it and put it out there because I want people to collect it because I believe in it and it looks good and it should sell, not because it's like I like collecting. They're collectibles. I'm like, no, 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 no. That's
No,
that's not.
I'm not big on that part of it at all. I never got
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. I've had people message me or comment that are like, I enjoy your video, but I hate the way you handle your comics. Like you're destroying its value. I'm like, my dude, I get
Yeah.
all the value out of this that I'm interested in, which is
Yep.
entertainment value. I collect these
Yeah.
because I like them,
Or because I like, I like to talk about them anyway. Yeah.
or
No,
like to talk. I mean,
I
yeah,
got a I got a comment like that for I think it was X-Men Alpha from the Age of Apocalypse thing,
yeah.
where he's like, "Hey, somebody's talking about comics, but I can't stand the way you're handling it, man." And it's like that's precious. And it's like X-Men Alpha. Do you have any idea how many of these they printed? This is not this is not precious, man.
Yeah, for real. It's not. It's not precious cargo. You can find these everywhere, my guys. This is.
Yeah,
It's not like I'm handling an original copy of Batman #1. I've got a.
yeah.
It's a
Like
facsimile edition. It's fine. It's
it if I
enjoy
ever get
these
my
things.
hands on like the original series of The Crow, trust me, I will handle it a lot more delicately,
There you
because
go.
there aren't very many of those. But no, something that they printed like 300,000 copies of or whatever it was, like, no, that's okay.
Yeah.
If worse comes to worse, and I bang it up, and then I decide later I want it, I'll buy another one. It'll be like $4.
Yeah. I mean, I some of these things I like. I take care of them, but I don't treat them like I don't.
Well, except for
Like
the
I'm
ones
going
you
to have
rip
them
in
in a.
half.
Yeah. Well, like I still have my original copy that I bought off the spinner rack of X-Men #1 and I took that tattered ass copy to Jim Lee when he visited town here a couple of years back and I had him sign that copy. And it's sitting in a
Yeah,
bag and board somewhere folded in my comic like, you know.
that's all right.
Yeah. And that one's precious to me just because it's representative. That is that artifact for me as a kid at that time that was like the most
Well,
exciting
it's
thing
like I
ever.
remember buying this off the rack in this store at this time. Like that's a
Yep.
little different, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, when I was fucking keeps talking about the Ultimate Warrior comic and Destrucity.
Yeah.
It's like that's
Distributed.
true.
That was a
That is true. I
wild.
do have to I have to handle that one with care, but more in the way you would have to handle like a nuclear weapon or something. But I told the story a little bit in one of my updates recently, where when I was a teenager, I was big into Cerebus, right? And I got a chance to go to a Dave Sims store signing, and I brought my Cerebus comics for him to sign, including some of the like old ones from like in the teens, from like the beginning of the run. Um, and when it got to I'm taking him out of the bag and boards, and he's like, "Oh, I better be careful with these. If I bend him or anything, you're gonna kill me." And I'm like, "What?" Like, it's just like I'm just trying to look after my shit, man. Don't call me out for it. And
That's funny.
that kind of stuck with me because like for the next Well, I mean, until like a few years ago, I kind of refused to put comics in bags and boards again.
Oh,
So
really?
most of the shit I have from those days, it's gone, man. Like it's not worth putting up on the stream. Whatever I have, it ain't much because it's tattered beyond all recognition.
Yeah.
I've had to buy new copies of everything since.
Yeah, I
It's an
do. I
interesting
did
little,
tend to.
yeah,
I did tend to put everything in a bag and board because again, I want them to stay in good condition, but I'm not worried. But that's just because I want to be able to look at them forever, not because I'm like this is going to be money in the future. It's just I want that to. I want to still be able to read it. So I
yeah.
kept most of them bagged.
Well, I mean, up until then, I did use bags and boards for everything, but like it was more just because like that was what you did. Because if you don't, it'll fall apart. Like the logic did make sense.
Yeah.
But no, then a guy I looked up to gave me shit for doing that. So it's like, oh well, we can't do that now. You know, so I mean, the plus side is that I do have an almost complete run of Cerebus, and most of them are not in bags and boards. So I guess that's kind of like karma of some kind. I don't know.
So almost the whole run, huh? That's 300 books, right?
I got like 290 ish, 285, something like that.
Wow.
That was a big deal for me growing up. I don't read them too often anymore, but there's still a great example of just like incredible craftsmanship.
Okay. Yeah.
There's like I assume you've read at least a few. I don't know
I
how
have never
many.
read a single issue of Cerebus ever.
Oh, okay, have you seen them with like at very least like the background art by Gerhard?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of the art. I have a friend of mine who's like super into it. He's trying to explain to me about it and the characters and sent me a whole bunch
Ah,
of links to all kinds of stuff, but I've never actually read an issue.
yeah, no, it's very niche shit. I don't blame anybody for not getting into it. I mean, particularly since like part of the point of it was that it was meant to be like a representation of a life, so he didn't really give you like Cole's notes at any point. You were just kind of stuck with, you had to jump in and fend for yourself and like try to figure out what you could, unless you were reading from issue one, so
Right. Right. Okay.
yeah, I don't blame anybody for not getting into it. But no, the again the level of work in it is kind of next level from each of them because you had Dave who was drawing the characters and who was writing the whole thing, and you had Gerhard who was drawing all of the backgrounds, and the backgrounds are about as close as you can get to photorealistic by using pen and ink,
Oh
and it's
wow.
incredible. It's incredibly detailed shit. I bring it up now, but I don't think I don't know if you'd be able to see it too well if I did.
So why did they have a different artist do the background? Was that just to expedite time, or because the main guy drawing the character couldn't draw backgrounds as well, or what was the point of
Well, no, he couldn't
dividing
draw
it
them
up?
nearly as well. Like he's okay at backgrounds, he was fine. Um, they were kind of like, I don't know, like he was a Barry Windsor Smith fan when he was started out, so he kind of based everything off of that, and it was kind of a watered down version of that look. Um, and Gerhard was the guy who would deliver art supplies to him. He's just a like local kid, and I guess they found out that he had that he was a drafting student, and he's like, oh, can I, I guess I don't know. Eventually, point where he offered him a job drawing the backgrounds for him because I don't think Dave had any um, enjoyment of drawing the backgrounds, and if he's got somebody else doing that, that does free up quite a bit of his time.
Oh sure, yeah.
And not only that, but then once Gerhard started drawing the background, like he's the best background artist in like comics history, in my opinion. Nothing else
Wow.
comes particularly close. It's looking like like Jeff Darrow or something is on the same level, obviously, but
Sure.
for a guy who just draws backgrounds, like he doesn't have a whole lot of interest in drawing much else. It was kind of the perfect gig.
And I guess if it paid him enough to keep him entertained and make a career out of it, I mean,
Yeah,
hey,
seems to
that's
have been the
awesome.
case.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
knew there was a different background artist, but I didn't know any of the hows or the whys. So that's really interesting.
Hmm. No, I mean, if you can look up, yeah, Brandon saying Gerhardt's more of a fine artist. He is, yeah. Like he would build 3D models first, in like out of cardboard or wood of whatever background the was going to be featured in the comic, so that he could just like turn it around and see it from whatever angle, and then work
Wow.
off of that. Yeah, yeah. And then I think he got used to he got started doing it in like Adobe or whatever. But he was always using references constantly.
Wow. That's fascinating.
And his I don't know, his use of like fine liners is ridiculous. I'm pretty sure because it's all like ultra fine cross hatching. That doesn't I don't think he uses a ruler, and you don't see him waver at all. And it's fucking wild looking stuff.
It's really fascinating.
Yeah.
So is the
And
most interesting artistic part the backgrounds? Like, does it kind of overshadow
and
the main artist and the character?
I don't know. Well, it depends what you're looking for in it, I guess. Because
Sure.
the figures are so different. Like Davison was always more of a writer than an artist.
Okay.
So although he got to be pretty good and good at a lot of different things, he got to be good at facial expressions. He got very good at the cartoony side of stuff, like and like just the timing of humor, of like comedy, which is important, and is its own skill. It's kind of hard to pull off, and he became kind of a master of that. He became, in my opinion, one of the best letterers in the business. Although that didn't get credited too often, but every once in a while, someone would take note of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting because they shouldn't theoretically necessarily work together. Like because the figures did get cartoony a lot of the time. Sometimes they got more photorealistic, but often some level of cartooniness. And then yeah, you've got these photorealistic backgrounds they're all set against with insane amounts of cross hatching. It did mean that the less detailed figures, they're still excuse me, they're still detailed, but I mean anything is going to be less detailed compared to Gerhardt's backgrounds. Um,
Sure.
so the figures did tend to stand out quite a bit from the backgrounds because of that, because there was that kind of contrast.
I would
So that's an
imagine that
interesting element.
probably became part of its charm. Like people would recognize this very unique, different thing, and that's kind of one of the things they would really enjoy about it. You think is that
I think so. Like I said, I think a lot of it comes down to is it was one of the um I don't know it is kind of like a craftsman's kind of book, and that you had these guys who were just like honing for decades, really,
right?
how to put together a comic page. Dave himself was, in addition to writing and like just kind of refining the cartoony look of the book, he was very interested in the form itself, like the form of comics and how to work interesting compositions and stretch what the limits would be. Um, so he'd try a lot of interesting page designs and see if they work. And just not really necessarily stuff that you've seen before. Just he's trying to figure some shit out. You know.
Right.
So it was a great tool for, I don't know, just learning techniques.
That's really interesting. Yeah, you gave me a little art history comic lesson here today. I didn't know a
Yeah,
lot of that. I do very basics, but yeah, that's really
yeah, for
interesting.
sure. Yeah, no, yeah, I got to be careful getting on the subject of Cerebus because I can literally go for like an hour or two.
You're like, I could go forever about this. No, that's
Kind of.
awesome. Have you covered any of the issues on your channel?
I did actually. Nobody watched them.
Doesn't that piss you off when you do something that you know a lot about and you really love it,
Ah,
and like no one pays attention?
it's fine. I kind of knew that was going to be the case going in. I mean, anybody who knows about Cerebus these days, I think probably knows that that the guy, the creator, is also kind of a pariah.
Yeah,
Yeah, like it's not, you don't really want to bring it up, but yeah, you know?
yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So like, you know, that was kind of what motivated me to do the video. Was it's like it pisses me off that because it is still an incredible book in terms of what it accomplished. I think, both visually, storytelling, all that kind of stuff. It's more down to the politics of the creator that is, quote unquote problematic. And the fact that he kind of infringed on his own comic more and more as it progressed to get his views in there. It does kind of get into an eye rolling festival after a while sometimes. But it bothers the hell out because it's by by saying, okay, Davison doesn't exist, we don't talk about him, then you negate this huge 300 issue accomplishment that he did, not quite single-handedly or anything, but pretty close to. And that's like nothing like that has ever been done in comics before, and the level
Yeah,
of quality was so high, it's like I don't think you can discount it personally. And so I want to talk about it, but I can't really, with most people, like face to face, recommend it to anybody because of all of the political bullshit that he included in the book. You know, so
right.
like I'm pissed at comics for ignoring him. I'm pissed at Dave for making it so comics had to ignore him.
That's really
But
interesting. Yeah, you now you got me interested. Like I'm gonna have to do a little bit of googling just to kind of catch up on some of this stuff because that's a bunch of
yeah,
really interesting stuff.
I did videos on the first 25 issues. It's not 25 straight videos. It's maybe like 10 or 12, but there's a few. I'm thinking of
How long
compiling
ago
them.
was the last one?
Maybe a couple of years now.
Oh, okay. Maybe
Yeah.
before I found out who you were and were following you, so I didn't see him. But
No, I think I probably would, but I mean, like, if you're not into Cerebus, you're probably not going to check it out. Like, literally, less than 200 people watched any of those videos.
oh, that's brutal.
you know,
You're like it might as well not even exist, guys.
kind of. Although I think they're entertaining.
Yeah,
And I was so I when I decided to put them up, I'm like, well, why don't we just look at it for the comic itself, see if it has merit. And since we're looking at the very beginning, the earliest stuff possible, let's see what his progression is. And the progression from issue to issue, particularly over those first 25 issues, is like leaps and bounds, in my opinion. So it's interesting to chart a guy who would develop into professional quality, how he got there.
yeah,
Particularly considering he's not in like a studio environment where he's got, mentors or anything around him. He's just kind of doing it by himself. Every once in a while, he'd talk to other creators in the industry and get tips for sure, but he doesn't have somebody around him monitoring his work, which probably would
right.
have been a good idea considering that maybe they would have gone, hey, maybe don't print all it.
So is that what
And
he did? Did he start spouting like political opinions that got him in trouble?
oh, there's a whole lot of shit.
I just know that he suddenly kind of fell out of favor, and I didn't understand why. Because again, I didn't go looking because I'm like, whatever, you know.
Yeah, for sure. No, the biggest thing is that problems with women, like big problems with women.
Oh, really?
And like to the point where he put out and it was creeping up in the book over the years, um where he had like, because he decided to make the book start to get into politics not too long into the book, like around issue 26, and it's probably the best stuff in the series, really. High Society. The whole thing is fantastic. But he got into like political factions and everything. That was something he was very interested in. And he was very good at kind of expressing it really and breaking it down. Um, and having politics as a continuing element that he could kind of comment on and satirize that kind of thing. Um, and like for somebody who doesn't give a shit about politics, usually it's still entertaining reading for me. So that's kind of an accomplishment in my opinion. Um, but some of the political elements that he brought in were groups of women, essentially. So there you had the Cyranists and the Kebalists. Cyranists were like, I don't know, it didn't matter. They're like different kinds of feminists, essentially. They've had a huge problem with feminism, and it's more on traditional family values. So, woman stays in the home, man leads the household, etc. And it kind of kept snowballing through the comic, and I feel like most people were willing to look the other way on it. Although, you get some tongue clucking and shit here and there. Until issue 186, which was not really a comic. It was it kind of coincided with him experiment. See, now I'm just getting into like a video essentially, where I'm just going to like I'm going to give you some history now.
Do it. I'm interested. So I mean, not
All
to
right.
make you trail off. I'm fine. I don't know any of this, so this is good for
Oh,
me.
for sure. So issue 186, it came at a time when he was experimenting again with the form, um, where he would have the story basically split into two. The first part would be basically all text with just like a drawing on the facing page.
Sure.
And it's like, and the question he was asking himself is this still comics? And I would argue no, but again, it's just kind of a formalist experiment for him. And then the last 10 pages would be whatever Cerebus was up to at that point. It was actually kind of a climactic part of the story. And that first part kind of kept taking over the book for the remainder of that little stretch, which was about 12 issues, as ending in issue 186 with I think an episode that was, I don't know, like 15 pages of text with an accompanying drawing, and then like 5 pages of Cerebus. And the text was all about how women were energy vampires who were going to suck away the creativity of men. They were like the void, and they were all about swallowing male light and just like
Jesus.
sucking out your soul, essentially. And it's like, and that kind of ended it, really, for Dave.
I was gonna say that'll kill your fan base like instantly.
Just like in 1990, what was it, 93 or four? Now maybe a year or two later, maybe 96. Like in the 90s, you don't say that shit. Like, you know, particularly not in pre-internet days where you can't get a following of, nut jobs. Not nearly as easily anyway. So yeah, his circulation had been doing great. It had dropped off a little bit since the 80s, but he was still getting like 30-40,000 copies sold per issue, independently, which is, like
Wow.
pretty fantastic numbers. Yeah, yeah. Like he'd been
Yeah,
going
that's
since 1977, you
it's got
know.
to be a nice chunk of money for every issue. Like
Oh, for
certainly to
sure.
live on.
And then yeah, over the next, well, if that was in 96, I think the book lasted like another 8 years until issue 300, because that was the goal. And the circulation dwindled and dwindled over the issues until I don't know how many people were buying it at the end, but it didn't matter at that point. Dave had enough money to get it across the finish line, so that was all that really mattered. And at that point, Gerhard had had enough. he he wasn't
Oh,
enjoying he wasn't enjoying working on the comic anymore, and he couldn't. And like working on it was like giving him like ulcers or something.
oh shoot.
Yeah, so like While he used to be able to keep up with the monthly schedule, which is an incredible feat, really, considering how detailed this shit was. By the end
Yeah.
of it, he was producing like 2 or 3 pages a month. Um, so for the last 12 issues, which was the last storyline, Dave had to do pretty much all of the foreground and the background, and he did a pretty good job. But like it really was just Dave kind of yelling into the wilderness at that point.
Wow, that's fascinating. I like I said, I heard that he had did did something. I didn't know what it was, but
The big thing, and then he followed that up by getting religion.
oh,
So
well, there you go.
so this like smart independent comic that was going to get its like a very particular kind of audience first went fuck feminism, then went hey guys I'm religious now, but not like Christian. I'm like a weird mix of Christianity and Muslim and Jewish maybe, where I just kind of made up my shit. As oh okay, and then he had extremely long text sequences that were just about that, where he was transcribing the Bible, and he would like cut some comedy in between or try to, but it's like, man, how do you really do that? I don't think you do that in a way that works anyway.
Sounds like a guy that lost his mind.
A little bit. I think that's what a lot of people said, was that basically he worked on his own essentially for 300 issues, and it pretty much drove him nuts.
Jeez. Somebody said in the chat, I think that somebody said he's still working on that book. Is that true to your knowledge?
Not exactly. Like the original Cerebus run is done, and would not be able to be continued, because the whole point of Cerebus was always um, it was a life that would make sense consecutively, issue to issue, where it was the same writer and artist for the whole thing, and there's no continuity breaks whatsoever because you've got the same guy for the whole thing, and it ends 300 with the character's death. So, and he's not going to go back on that. He has been putting out like reprint stuff, like photocopied stuff from the book where he's like cracking jokes and stuff, but it's not really the same comic anymore.
Okay.
Part of that is down to the fact that he can't really draw anymore because the tendons in his right wrist like ruptured or something.
Oh shit! How old must he be at this point?
Not that well. I guess these days he's about 70.
Okay.
But like that was back like 10, 15 years ago. I always thought it was a little bit funny because he considers that he thinks that basically God is always trying to teach people lessons and like point shit out to you, like everybody, right? And it's like, okay, so what kind of critique is it then when God takes comic book artists and then destroys their ability to draw?
Right. It's like I know where you're going with this. I can see where
Yeah,
you're pushing me. That's fascinating.
yeah. It's like I, not to be malicious or anything about it, because I still do respect the hell out of Dave Sim, even if I don't agree with his opinions on some matters.
Sure.
But that does seem a little funny to me personally.
Yeah.
Comic Kings talk about Mr. A. I've never looked at it. I don't know that I would be able to cover it. Mostly because I'm not a Ditko guy.
What is this, Mr. A?
I remember I'm only really aware of it because of cartoonist Kayfabe. Um, it's Steve Ditko, after he was done working at Marvel because he's a fucking weirdo. And you know the whole deal with him, how he's like super principled and everything.
Yeah, I kind of
Are you
got that
familiar with?
understanding. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
he was big into Ayn Rand objectivism, like that was his deal. Um, so he came up with a superhero that he thought was an actual like role model, in that I don't even know if I really remember how to explain the concept behind Mr. A, but it was like I don't know. I don't understand objectivism well enough. I don't think. Um, it's fuck. You would have to look it up. Anyway, but it's kind of like a character who just worked off of that kind of objectivism. And now see now I gotta look it up. I can't even talk about it coherently without that. Teaches that reality exists outside of human minds. Reason is the only way to know it. Individual happiness is the moral goal of life, and laissez-faire capitalism is the ideal social system. So there's a lot there.
Sure.
But yeah, a lot of it was down to rationality. If there was any element of a comic that was irrational, Ditko didn't want anything to do with it. He thought morality was like set in stone, and anyone who transgressed morality in any way, like in the comic, faced like capital punishment. Like,
Wow.
and it's like weird visual stuff, but again in Ditko style, which I've never been a fan of. I don't think I would ever cover it, unfortunately. I don't know nearly enough about it to talk about it, and I don't think I want to get into it that much.
Yeah, I have an unfortunate kind of like first impression of Ditko that it's taken me forever and ever and ever to shake.
Yeah.
But and I covered it on my channel. There was this some big like Marvel annual, and in the back, because all I'd ever heard my entire life, Steve Ditko was the most amazing artist. He was the guy who drew Spider-Man originally. He was just this incredible thing. And then the first time I
Mhm.
ever got to see his work was a story where Squirrel Girl introduces herself to Iron Man trying to get herself onto the Avengers. And it was the ugliest, worst drawn comic I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like, why is this guy revered?
Yeah.
One, Squirrel Girl, like, and again, this was in the 90s. So I'm like a teenager. I'm like, you, I could be watching Ripclaw rip the guts out of a robotic monster. Why am I looking at Squirrel Girl? And I still don't get Squirrel Girl, but I get it's kind of like a whimsical, kind of goofy thing. Whatever, I don't care.
Sure.
But it was just the ugliest art. And so I kind of, when I made that video, Chuck Gibson got a hold of me. He's like, you have the unfortunate kind of luck of running into the guy at the end of his career when he was making the worst stuff. You're not seeing the good stuff that is actually really relevant, whereas storytelling and composition and shadows and that type of stuff where there's actual the talent, not that Squirrel Girl shit. I'm like, okay, that makes me feel better because I was like, I don't get this, guys. I understand the reverence for the guy, but if this is an example, oh my god, is this
Yeah.
the worst thing I've ever seen?
The first time I saw Ditko stuff was in Marvel Masterworks, and it was the original Spider-Man stuff, right? I borrowed that off a friend, and my impression was like, "Ew," you know, none of this looks any kind of good, really. You know, I mean, at the time, I was still kind of just getting into comics, but like, like I got into comics because of guys like Jim Lee. So it's like this is the stuff. This is how good comics can be, and then it's like, okay, here's Steve Ditko, and it's like, oh fuck, man, what the hell is that? You know, it to a 12-year-old, it didn't hold up too well.
Right.
Robo was asking if I'd ever cover Evan Dorkin. I would. I like Milk and Cheese. I don't know if you're
I've
familiar with
got
Milk
one
and Cheese.
issue of that.
Yeah,
I
I
was
had a
totally
trade
gonna,
at one point, but
yeah.
yeah,
I was gonna cover it, but I'm like, it's like a bunch of little comic strip gags. And I'm like, how do
yeah. That's
I
the thing. It's a little
explain this
tough to
without,
talk about.
yeah. That's why I haven't. And I did. I was like, oh, this is a unique one-off. Let's check out this. But I'm like, how do I talk about it without like reading the dialogue word for word, page by page? You like
Yeah,
I didn't
like
know
to me,
what to do.
like a little like not too long ago I did Johnny the Homicidal Maniac.
Yeah,
And it's kind of the same thing where there's a lot of gags and you don't want to just read the gags. But if you don't just read the gags, I don't know how much more there is to talk about.
yeah,
You know, it's
yeah,
like, yeah, like this is a cool cartoony style. I like it. It's not super skilled in terms of composition, like shadow, you know, and I think Milk and Cheese is kind of the same way, really, because it's trying to be more of a cartoon.
yeah.
You know, so it's like I was able to get through the video at least for Johnny, but like I don't know if I'd be able to have much more to say than that for Milk and Cheese, as much as I did enjoy it when I was like 20 or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear you say that because it validates me because I'm like, I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah,
I would like to, but
there's
I don't know how to talk about it
there's
in
a
the
lot of
manner in
stuff like
which.
that for me where it's like, you know, yeah, I to talk about this because it is, I think, important. I don't think I'm the guy who can talk about it though. You know?
Right. Yeah. Like I don't know. Somebody else is probably able to cover this smarter and better than I can. So maybe I
Yeah,
should just let
exactly. Like
this one go.
I remember a couple of years back I went over Marvels, you know, and it's like, you know, you can certainly talk about it. It was incredibly influential and all that shit. At the same time, I don't know how to talk about painting. You know, I'm like
Yeah.
flipping the page, going, "Yep, that certainly looks like a photo." Oh, hey, what do you know? That one looks like a photo too. And you know, every once in a while, I can kind of talk about something that's more a bit more fundamental. But if it comes to technique, I don't know nothing about painting. So
Yeah.
you know, that was a tough one to get through.
Yeah. It's kind of rough when you're like, how do I construct a thought about this that's interesting for people? Yeah.
Yeah, while still maintaining like I know what the fuck I'm talking about to some degree.
Right. I swear I know what I'm sort of kind of talking about, I guess,
A
maybe.
little bit.
Yeah. So what's this page you're working on? I mean, obviously it's your book, but just
It is.
what if issue what 6, 7, 6?
This is issue 6. This is page 4, I believe. Yeah. It's just I think it's taken me like a year to get here since I finished issue 5.
It's weird how
Been
that time gets
drawing.
away from you.
I was doing all right with keeping up with it, honestly. Where I finish usually like a page every week or two, maybe.
Yep.
But then I got it. I started doing like I did a couple of commissions. Well, I've done a few now for this one guy who keeps asking for commissions, and I'm like every time he does that, I'm like, yeah, no, let's fucking do that. I can use money. Um,
Hell yeah.
um, so between that and you know, I had a while there where I was doing all sorts of variant covers for Blood Force that I don't know if they really have much of a place. Like there was like doing pastiches of other guys.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I did like a Jay Lee pastiche.
Yeah.
That one was quick at least, but the Sam Keith one before it sure as shit wasn't.
You know what's funny about that Sam Keith one that you did? That it was the Wolverine shot that you did your guy
Yeah,
Hawk stab, right? I was
it's
flipping
still the
through a
best book
comic.
I've ever drawn. I think.
I was flipping through a comic recently, and there was a they used that artwork as an ad for something. And when I saw it,
Yeah,
my first thought was, "Hey, there's that drawing Mitch did." I thought it was your work for like half a second. I was like, "Oh wait, no, no, that's Sam Keith," and Mitch did a
no,
great representation of it. But my first thought, as I saw that artwork, and I thought of you instantly.
that's I'm flattered. No,
It is
I did
because
not come
you
up with
did an
something.
amazing job on it. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that looks really
I'm
good."
pretty proud of that. I mean, like you know, with the original art or anything, but that's still the best thing I've ever drawn. I think.
You still have it, right? I was wondering if anybody bought it off you.
I do still have it. Yeah, no, nobody's made
Yeah,
an offer or anything.
I was thinking about it once, and I still do. So that's why I'm asking. I might that might be a thing that comes up if it's down the road. We'll chat. But it looks amazing.
Sounds good. I think I would have a hard time parting with it is the only thing. But
No, no, I
at the
get
same
that.
time,
Yeah,
at the same
that's
time, it is just kind of sitting in a box right now. So yeah,
yeah. I've got so much stuff that I'm like, I've just got so much stuff sitting in boxes. Just
yeah,
a treasure trove of art for who? I don't know. I'd like to think that my kids will find all of their dad's art and sketches and stuff like that when their daddy passes away and they have to deal with it. That maybe this will be something precious to them because I look back for myself. If my dad had a pile of shit that's this creative work that he did ever since he was a teenager up until he was an old man, I would be so dying to own every bit of that. But
for sure.
my dad threw everything away when he was younger. And, he tells me about
Okay.
all this stuff that he did and he kept and like, well, where's that thing? He's like, he talked about this drawing that he did. He's like, oh, I threw it away. I didn't give a shit. I'm like,
Yeah,
Dad, you're killing me. He's like, I didn't know. I didn't think anybody would care. I just, I'm like, oh, so
I get
anyway,
that mentality too. To be honest,
yeah.
I I understand that a bit. I guess it depends how much are your kids into like comic art.
At the moment, none, but I hope that it'll be more of like they want to just be able to understand. I'm putting my kids
Yeah,
in the space of where I'm at, which would be important to me in regards to my dad. I
yeah,
may not be into this stuff on a personal level, but this is stuff that was personally interesting to my dad. So therefore, it's an insight to my father that is I look through all these pages and what was he doing and where
I
was
get
he at
that.
and how old was he when he did this, and it would be magical to me, so I'm hoping it will be something to my own boys.
I get that. At the same time, like I try to think of it through because it would because if you're thinking like, man, if my dad created comic art, that would be amazing. But you're into comic art, of course it would be. Um, like I think of it like if my dad recorded a bunch of songs in a genre I wasn't into, how much would I value those? Probably
Yeah,
a bit, but maybe
right.
not like these are amazing. I need to check these out constantly. You know?
Concrete is I one of my live streams recently, I was going through all my old ancient comic art, which I actually still have sitting, like some of it right here. Like this is like maybe the first comic page I ever drew.
Nice.
Yeah, but we were going through all this stuff, and then I forgot a line that I wrote in the book, which he just referenced. When I was a teenager, I had my hero kicking a monster in the face, and I had the dialogue say, "Eat, fist, fag."
Uh-huh.
Like that was the cool dialogue, and I completely forgot about it until I flipped open to that page, and I was like, oh, that's not okay. That's 14-year-old Rob thinking that's funny, but a couple
Yeah,
of people,
yeah.
concrete, thinks it's funny, and I kind of like, in its own innocent-ish way, it was funny, but man,
It's a good thing you told me because I was getting ready to give Robo a warning there. But
yeah. Yeah, no, that's what that was all about. That was a terrible bit of dialogue in my own horrible books, and like 15-year-old me.
yeah, I mean, teenagers are the worst kind of people. And I think that's fine. You're allowed to be the worst kind of person when you're 15.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I had no context for anything, and I was like, "Oh, who cares? This is yeah." And then you're like, you'd see it as an adult. You're like, "Oh, all right. Well, it is what it is."
Sebastian Bach's old T-shirt he wore back in the '80s. Of Skid Row?
That's the only
No, I don't.
Sebastian Bach I know.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I don't know. I don't really want to look this up, but
Yeah, you're like, I don't know if I want to see this.
I don't know what I. Oh,
I mean, I imagine he probably wore a
yeah.
lot of different things.
There you go. And I'm sure that's what Comic King is saying is that he wore a lot of shirts that didn't say anything particularly offensive.
He says the AIDS T-shirt. That's scary.
No, no, I'm not familiar with that at all.
Now I have to
Oh,
pull
I
it up
see.
off camera for my own
I
personal.
can, yeah, okay, I can see it. Yeah, just type in Sebastian Bach AIDS T-shirt, you'll find it.
Holy shit, that's terrible. Holy, what the fuck? Oh my gosh.
Well, it's like Raid, right?
Oh man. Oh, I didn't even make the Raid connection. But
There you
Raid
go. Now
kills
you get it.
Bugs dead.
It's kind of it's a really bad joke, but you know.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, you know,
I doubt he made the shirt if it's any kind of consolation.
that'd be ironic if he 100% did. He's like, yeah, I made that.
Yeah,
I come up with that. I paid somebody to
just
make
like
that.
he went into one of those t-shirt huts. He's like, dude, I got something, you know.
Yeah, he's like, I got the greatest idea. Hear me out. And they're like,
Yeah,
all right, bro, let's do it.
yeah. And you know, Robo's right. It was a different time. It was the '80s.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the 80s was when that thing when AIDS kind of cropped up originally, right? Like
Yeah,
at least
and
the wider
that was what the
public.
commentary was,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, yeah.
I remember being in like ninth grade, and there were a couple of kids talking behind me, and this one kid, they were talking about like somebody that would have AIDS, and this guy's like, "Would you want to be around an AIDS person? Like that'd be terrible." And even then, I'm like, it's not floating in the air. It doesn't get on you. You
Yeah,
know, even as a kid, I understand like that's the dumbest logic I've ever heard. Like just because somebody's in the room and has it.
yeah.
But this was like 90 or 91 or something like that.
And you know, like, yeah, it's all about paranoia and shit. I was watching
Yeah.
a thing on I don't know, like a clip came up about Magic Johnson a while back. They were talking about when he had to retire because of HIV. He had HIV, right?
Sure.
And Dennis Rod and then he came back for like an all-star game, and people were like, "Oh, is that okay? Is he going to be okay in the room?" And Dennis Rodman was like, "Well, yeah, he's not going to be having sex with the players. It's fine."
I
Yeah. So,
mean,
yep, there it is. There's a guy who actually knows what he's talking about.
yeah, I guess I would wonder, like in a sport where you're throwing elbows and maybe bleeding, is that any
I
kind
don't
of
think there's too. I don't know if basketball there's too much risk, but it's not
right?
boxing. You know.
Like someone's not going to bite your ear.
Yeah, you know exactly. Sheldon bringing it back to Delirious, man. I don't know if you can reference Delirious anymore. The Eddie Murphy special.
Yeah, I've actually never seen that. I've heard about it, obviously, but I don't think I've
Have you
never
seen
actually.
Raw?
I've seen parts of that.
It's pretty funny. It's also not not stuff. A lot of the stuff you can't repeat very much, but
Right. You can't go into work the next day and like, guys, well, I heard this. Learned this great joke. Listen to this.
I mean you can, but you just you can do whatever you want. It's just you might get a call from HR pretty shortly after that.
Yeah, you might be showing your walking papers immediately after.
Potentially, potentially.
They're asking if we remember that episode of South Park where they had the Jared, the subway guy, and he had AIDS. That shit was
I still
funny.
think that's funny. I still think that
Yes,
episode is hilarious.
because it's he's like, yeah, these are my AIDS. They help me out and do things. They're
Yeah,
like, but they're like,
yeah.
yeah, he's trying to give us AIDS.
Yeah, no, the way I lost weight was because of AIDS.
Yeah,
I think everybody should get AIDS. So I'm gonna
yeah,
give
everyone needs
everybody.
AIDS.
Oh dear God, stop talking.
Oh, that's why I love those South Park guys. They will come up with just an idea and just turn it into the funniest joke and just run with it.
Yeah, guys are saying the last few years it's really run out of steam, but there was a while there where there was just kind of banger after banger.
Yeah. I think my favorite episode, it's hard to come up with my favorite, but the episode where Butters becomes like a pimp.
That's a good one. I do enjoy
He's
that one
like,
quite a bit.
yeah, they're like, you know what I'm saying? He's like, yes, I do know what you are saying.
You know what I am saying? Yeah.
Yeah, it never got old. Oh,
Or
then suddenly
talking to
Butters is
oh fuck.
running around saying, "You got to put that mouth to work, make your motherfucking money back." I'm like,
Give me some real motherfucking money, man.
yeah, you got to make some real mother effing money.
You could be my bottom bitch.
Yeah, Butters Kissing
That was a good
Company,
show.
isn't that what it was called?
Something like that.
Yeah,
No, that was a great show. The one that always stuck with me was the Scientology one because that was legitimately the one where I learned about Scientology.
yeah.
I don't think I'd ever heard of it before then.
I don't remember if I had. I'm kind of fuzzy on the timeline of either one. I want
Yeah.
to say I think I might have heard of it because didn't they do a whole like this is what Scientologists actually believe and had that flashed across
Yes.
the bottom of the screen?
Yes.
And
Yeah. With the stuff with Xenu and
yeah,
about how he killed all he took all the souls of a fugitive race and like killed
yeah.
them all and stole their souls and seeded them in volcanoes.
Oh my
And
gosh.
and then when the volcanoes went off, they seeded the earth with all of these the souls of the I don't remember what the names of the planet was. Um and I don't know, that had something to do with something.
Yeah. I feel like some of that I had heard, but I might be just kind of crossing my knowledge from when I heard it because it's been so long. But yeah, it's so funny, just brilliant.
Comic King's like Merritt Michaels used to be Robbie Rob's bottom bitch.
That's true. That is true.
Don't disagree.
Had you left my chat earlier when I was talking with Ginger Bear in the chat, and we were discussing how he works currently with Chap Yap.
Oh no, I missed that. Fuck yeah. No, I had to eat dinner. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've known that for a while. He told me that a long time ago because I've known Ginger Bear through Chuck Gibson for a couple of years now. But he's like,
Okay.
"Hey, you're not going to believe this, but because he works at a place called I think it's Blizzard. It's like a effects company, video game, something like that.
As in the World of Warcraft guys.
I think so. Guys in the chat might know specifically,
I
but
think if he works at Blizzard, that would be what that is. Yeah.
yeah, and he works there, and
It's
he's like,
either that
"Yeah,
or or he's Dairy Queen. You know.
yeah," and he's like, "Yeah, Chap Yap from Extreme Studios. He works a few offices down from me. I talk to him all the time."
That's
I'm
wild.
like, "What is he doing?" And he basically has explained to me that Chap is so out of comics. He doesn't look at him, read him. He doesn't even like kind of even want to talk about his career. He's just like, he got a job because he got married, he's got kids, so he's doing this career that pays him better and more consistently and easier work than doing comic pages day after day after day.
Oh, for
But
sure.
he made it sound like Chap is just like he doesn't even follow comics anymore. And I'm like, does he know that there's people that would love to talk to him and kind of chat him up about his career? And Ginger Bear's like, I've told him, but he doesn't seem interested. Again, I'm trying not trying to put words into Ginger Bear's mouth, but I'm just kind of recounting what
Yeah.
he's told me. I'm like, do you think there's any chance he would talk to me on my channel? Because that would be a scoop of a lifetime. And
That
he's
would be
like,
yeah. That would be a coup. Yeah.
right. And so he's like, there's two hiccups to that. And I'm like, okay, what is it? He's like, one, he's kind of, like I said, he's like kind of out of comics and doesn't care.
Yeah.
But because Ginger Bear's like, dude, we should do like a short story, like draw a page or two or something like that, and I'll draw more of it. It would be awesome. And he makes it sound like Chap's like, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I'm interested in
Yeah.
comics anymore. But then he did say that Chap still speaks fondly of Rob Liefeld.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, well, that probably kills any chance if he found out what I've said on my channel, you know.
Yeah.
And I get that. He's like, Liefeld gave me my career. He gave me a big start. I had nothing but great memories of the guy. And
He,
like, and that's
I'm
fair.
sure he paid him very well as well. And
Yes.
like, yeah, he was Chap Yates for a while was Rob Liefeld's star.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised if he speaks well of Liefeld. That makes sense to me.
It does make sense. But Ginger Bear said in the chat on mine earlier today, he's like, they're all kind of working on this big project. Because I did ask Ginger, I was like, do you think there's any chance he'd be? I mean, is it? I kind of knew the answer would be no, but I was like,
Yeah,
I'd be stupid to not even like ask just in case a miracle happens.
that's
Like
true.
I have to at least ask. I'm like, I don't mean to pressure you or bug you, Ginger, but do you think there's any chance you could run it by him? He's like, I'll feel him out. I'll suss him out. And he come back a couple days later. He's like, I kind of hit him up if he'd be interested in talking about something. He didn't seem like he'd be interested. I'm like, okay, that's fine. No worries. But on
Yeah,
the
don't
chat
press him there.
today, Ginger Bear was like, we're all working on this big project and it's been a big hassle. But when it's done, he's like, I was going to hit him up about maybe being interested or willing to talk to you on your channel about his comic career. I'm like, really? Like,
That'd be
do you
awesome.
think there's even a chance? He's like, we'll see. I'm like, all right, I'm not going to hold my breath because, I'm
Yeah,
not going to get excited for something that's like, come on, the chances of that are slim to none.
it's maybe a little slim, but hey, if it's a possibility, that's pretty awesome. Hopefully that works out.
Yeah. And you know what? I even in the chat on my stream earlier, I come up with an idea. I'm like, well, if he doesn't want to talk to me, maybe he could talk to. Oh wait, no, Mitch goes pretty hard on myself too, because I was literally saying, well, if he doesn't want to talk to me, I know another guy that would love to talk to him, and we're all in the similar circles. I was like, I just stopped myself.
have you
No,
have you seen the title for this live stream, by the way, Rob?
I did. What was it? Two haters for the price of one? Is that what it said?
Like just it kind of dovetails nicely.
No, it totally was. Yeah, I did have a good chuckle at that.
Yeah, I don't think either one of us is any easier on Liefeld than the other. We just got to come at him from different directions, really.
Yeah. One of the guys here said that there's like, yeah, Mitch is harder on Liefeld than you, Rob. I'm like, really?
I don't know about that. I don't know.
Well, I was like, I don't know. We're both pretty gruesome.
I don't know. I know I try to stay like objective, at least
Sure.
some of the time. I I'd say you probably do at least a little bit, right?
Well, here's what the validation I try to give myself is I'm not I'm only talking about his art and his choices with his comic career. I'm not
Yeah.
talking about him. The
You're not
guy
making it
who's
personal.
I'm not talking about a man who's married and got kids and he loves them
Yeah.
and his life. And like, I'm not talking about any of that. I'm just like looking at this god awful storytelling in this book and
Yeah.
how can anybody justify this? And it's that's open for discussion to anybody. That's the whole point. Art is out there
He
for
put it
people to
out
talk
there.
about.
I didn't ask him
Yeah.
to put it out there.
Yeah. We're just talking about it. And I don't want to lie. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I'm like, no, it's fine. It's good. Nah, it's not.
Yeah. I feel like I'm finally at least starting to like through the comments. I'm finally starting to understand a little bit why people liked him because I've never understood that.
What is it that you're kind of gathering after all this time? Like what's kind of the
uh,
reason you think is
Mostly, it seems to be down to the whole it was new and different thing, which
sure.
I've never really understood because it's like okay, but like if I put up drawings from an 8-year-old, that's going to be different from what you've seen before. You know, that doesn't mean it's good. and
Right.
and they were saying it's more like it's just kind of the time. It wasn't just about Rob. It was also Jim Lee. Todd McFarlane, all that kind of stuff. But they were saying the period just before that in the 80s was getting kind of tired, basically, for the art because you had a lot of holdovers from the 60s and 70s who were just building up, just doing like Jim Shooter comics, essentially, where it's all about clarity and about accessibility, but not necessarily about great stories, and definitely not really about really lively art. You know,
Right.
so that, or at least that's the position that the guy I spoke to was coming from.
Sure.
So with that, somebody like Liefeld comes along, and all of a sudden it's super exciting. In part because he's not sticking to the old Jim Shooter rules. And it's like, okay, I can kind of
Yeah.
understand that now.
Yeah. I think a big difference between me and you in terms of Liefeld, if I and you can correct me on this, is that if I understand correctly, you never liked him and never saw the appeal, and I
Right.
still look at his old stuff and still find it entertaining and find value in it.
That would be correct.
Yeah.
But see, the thing
And
for
it's just
me is that, like, were you reading comics before Liefeld got in?
um
I would guess probably yes.
yes, but in a very like naive way where I didn't really know much of anything. I like I've said before how like I didn't even pay attention to artists or writers. I just flipped open a comic and read it and just thought they were just awesome. And
Yeah.
then at some point I started paying attention to the creatives, and then I just started seeing people talk about this guy on New Mutants, and it's suddenly taking off. And the first issue I ever intentionally bought that he was part of was New Mutants 100.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No. See, the thing with me was that I got in like in 1991, and I got in late. I was like 11, 12 years old when I decided to get into comics. Um, and at that point, like Liefeld was already a name, and at the same time, you also had all the guys who would eventually go on to be the Image guys, and they were all in their prime, right? So like it wasn't like you also had Jim Lee, you had Wills Portacio on X Factor, you had Todd McFarlane on Spider Man, you had Mark Silvestri on Wolverine, you had Dale Keown on the Hulk, you had Mark Teixeira on fucking Ghost Rider. Like you were
Yeah,
spoiled for choice when it came to artists,
yeah.
and in that environment, it's like, why would I read this shit? You know, it didn't hold up in comparison, even like a little bit.
And I totally get it. I can't really explain except there was just something about kind of that line work that he did, that he inked himself, that I look at it, I'm like, this shouldn't work, but for some reason it does. I don't get it, but I can't deny that I'm like, yeah, I still kind of like it.
Yeah. So I remember, uh, the famous interview Rob Liefeld had with Hart D. Fisher, right? From it was in Comics Journal in like '96.
I think so. You might need to clarify and maybe it'll jog my memory.
Sure. Cartoonist Kayfabe talked about it. Um, they went through it actually, where they went back and forth. One guy played Hart D. Fisher, the other guy played Liefeld, and it's the greatest Liefeld interview that's ever been done.
In that case, I'm sure I've heard it because I absolutely would have watched that. Yes.
Yeah, it's it's at like the perfect moment as well, because he's just finished up with the lawsuits from Image. Like he's been kicked out. All the stuff has been settled about whether or not he appropriated funds, all of that. And now he's just about to start up Awesome Entertainment. Right. So and at the same time, like he's kind of shaken that that his Image days are done. I also think it's early days of the internet, so he's starting to get the first real negative feedback he's ever really
Ah,
gotten.
right.
And he seems very unsure of himself and like vulnerable. And it's like he's like way more honest than I think he should have been. That's another thing, is that he has no minders in this interview. Like, not like he usually does or anything, but at that time he probably should have. says a whole bunch of stuff that he really should not have. Not like going at the image guys or anything, but just not watching his words and just giving McFarlane ammunition to come after him with more lawsuits in another year or two, basically.
I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch that kayfabe video. In that
It's
case,
it's the best fucking interview ever.
yeah, you've just sold me on that. That's going to be on my watch soon list. Because again, I know I would have watched the kayfabe video, but it's been a couple years, obviously. So I'm like, I don't remember. So now I'm gonna have to go
Yeah.
look.
I've been dying to get a copy. I at least found somebody who photocopied the whole thing online, so I at least can read it now. Because it gets a little irritating just um, hearing some guys back and forth read it out sometimes.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah. So Kid Vector said I've heard this theory too, that the appeal of Rob back in the day was that he wasn't trying to be Frank Miller or Alan Moore. He was a pro making the kinds of comics that 12-year-olds make, and we all saw something of ourselves in his comics. I've heard that. I think that has some credence.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily the main reason, but I think it was probably a big part for a certain kind of comic reader anyway. He talks about it in that interview, actually, because Hart D. Fisher brings it up. That's the other thing about that interview, is that Hart D. Fisher's a fucking madman in that thing. Um, he's the guy who put out Kill Image. I don't know if you're
Right.
familiar with that. It's not even
Yes.
like a parody. It's just a thing where he like murders all the image creators.
Damn.
Yeah. And it's it looks like a fucking snuff book of some kind. But like and he's oh man, it's so good. Like he'll just ask him really point blank questions that everybody's always wanted to ask Liefeld, but would never come up with a normal interview because that wouldn't be polite, you know? And he asks him, he's like, there's the theory out there that kids like your stuff because it's not it's amateurish and it's something that they can pretty easily replicate. What do you think about that? And he's like, I don't know about that. Like he doesn't have anything to say to that really. And I think there is an element of truth in that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, Robo saying there's one better interview with Kevin Eastman for Tundra about Tundra. I would like to read that one too, actually, because I know that Kevin Eastman is with Tundra was just spending money on everything for like no gain.
Right.
Like I remember seeing a thing about him going to conventions and like he's like Tundra was for anybody who doesn't know, was a publisher that Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird I think were running, or maybe it was just Kevin Eastman. And after their Ninja Turtle days were done, at least in terms of putting out. And it was like, hey, we got the money now, we've got the profile. Let's spotlight creators who aren't getting the kind of attention that we think they should get. And yeah, cool. And then so Eastman would go to a convention and be like, all right, I'm going to sign 3 guys at this convention. And then he'd come back and he'd be like, I signed 20. And it's like,
Wow.
I just got so excited about all of them,
There's just so much good stuff out there. I signed up this whole
Yeah,
thing.
he seems a bit like like that kind of Liefeld guy where he gets worked up, Like,
Oh man, that's funny.
Peter Laird wanted nothing to do with Tundra. He thought it'd be a disaster. Okay, I wasn't for sure. I thought I knew he was working with somebody, obviously, but I thought maybe it was Laird. It
Concrete
wasn't. Robo's like it wasn't 20.
70?
It was over 70.
I thought 20 sounded bad.
So he just signed like literally everybody.
Like, hey, you want a book deal? Sign here. You want a book deal? Sign here. We're gonna back
It
you
does
guys
sound like
up.
that was kind of the case, to the point where it's like, God damn it, I should have gotten to those conventions.
Well, I love the concept of these guys that are like got a lot of money and they want to help some indie creators get seen. Like that makes my heart go pitter patter. Like I love that idea. Good job, guys. But there has to be a little bit of like common sense, unless you're completely okay losing money hand over fist, which that's not a sustainable
I
model you're
unless you're Kevin Eastman and you literally have hundreds of millions of dollars because
right.
of your stupid little Daredevil parody.
Yes. Oh,
Like he's at that point. He's been at that point since like 1990, where he just has no idea of the value of money anymore. Like he doesn't know what anything costs. If a bill comes to like if he's got to arrange for like an event or something, if a bill comes to $700 or it comes to $700,000, he kind of views that the same. You know, it doesn't mean anything to him.
yeah. Yeah. Man, that's crazy.
Be nice to be in that position.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to have so much money that I could help bankroll, because I know a couple of guys, that I've met through the channel, or just personal. Like this book needs to be seen, but it'd have to be guys that like definitely got a book done, or you know what I mean. Like you can see that
Yeah.
they've produced work, as opposed to I made 4 pages and here's my pitch. Oh, that sounds amazing. Let's go. No, 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 no. You got to have
No,
some
no, no.
work. You
Give me
you
your book.
complete it, and we'll talk.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that would have some merit for sure.
Yeah.
Comic Kings, like I mean, both Kevin and Peter can indulge. Now it's like, yeah, for sure. No, you just don't hear as much about Peter Laird just throwing money around like a lunatic.
Yeah.
Kevin, you hear about him a bit more.
Well, it's almost 10 o'clock for me, and I gotta be getting up at 5 a.m. So I'm gonna have to
All right,
bail
yeah, we should
here.
probably wrap up then.
Well,
It's
I
been a
mean,
good
I could
time
bail.
though,
You
man.
can keep going.
No, I honestly I could use a fucking cigarette, but
What's that border you're putting around there? Is that a dot pattern, or am I seeing things like
oh fuck yeah, I don't know. It's pixelating for some reason.
okay, I see that now, but for a minute you see what I'm seeing, right? The pixelated kind of like
Yeah,
dot that actually
I
looked
could see it
really
in
cool.
yeah, I can see it in the stream here, but like I
You,
didn't
oh,
really recognize it was doing that.
oh, yeah, I was like, dude, that looks awesome. I was like, good job. Now I see it kind of like, all right, it's the resolution's not great. That's
No.
hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it's like it can't handle this, and I don't know exactly what the problem is, but fucking what it might just be that my phone is old. Who knows? All right, so I'll let you take off then.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for letting me kind of have a last minute addition. I
No,
appreciate it.
it's a good idea, man. Absolutely. Thanks for
Yeah,
coming on. It was
yeah.
a good
Thank
time.
you.
Thanks everybody for stopping in and talking, even though we didn't talk back at you very much. So sorry about that.
We got chatty with each other.
Yeah, you started talking about comics and Cerebus and shit like
Right.
that. It went on a little bit.
All right. Well,
Your
I'll
phone is
take off.
taking all the bandwidth.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. Like, it's all me. It's my problem.
Yep. All right.
All
Well,
right. Yep.
we'll call it a night here.
Yep.
Thanks a lot,
All right.
man. I'll
Yep.
see you
Thank you.
later.
Yes, sir.
All right, and see you guys in the chat. I'll see you on Sunday. All right. Peace out.